Well, let's see if we are live. We can be, yes.
Lijkt wel uitzetten.
Wouter Truffino is live. Well, here we are. Today we're going to talk with Jan Willem from Yardi.
Hey Wouter.
Good afternoon, Jan Willem Jeuke. How are you? How has been the last year for you?
Well, today I'm pretty good. It's been a challenging, funny year to be honest. Obviously, normally I'm traveling on a weekly basis throughout Europe to visit and meet clients and new clients. And actually, since of March last year, when our offices closed, I've been working from home, like pretty much everybody at Yardi at the moment, globally.
Well, everybody in the world probably.
Yeah, absolutely. My world's become a lot smaller, and everything is via screen at the moment, which is challenging sometimes. Yeah.
But you look good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, saving time by not traveling gave me all the time and opportunity to work on myself. So yeah, I lost over 20 kilos
wow.
Being active, skating, cycling, kickboxing, even yoga. So yeah,
wow,
it's been a fun year. New hobbies.
New hobbies.
Absolutely.
So also Corona created something positive.
Absolutely, yeah. It definitely had some positive influence on me as well.
And how about the business? Because how did you do your business? Because you're also doing a lot of traveling in Europe, as you said. But how is that impacting the business? Such a year.
Well, I definitely noticed that a lot of our prospects and clients stepped on the brake pedal at first to see, oh my God, what's going on? Where are we going with all of this?
That was the first wave.
So that was the first wave, absolutely. So the first couple of months were quite quiet, but after that, I think it became really busy, and definitely it impacted because everything is via screen at the moment, and building relationship is easier to do when you're sitting together in a room like we are right now. Which I love being back doing again. But yeah, it's been a challenge. But after that first initial wave, it's become quite busy because I think a lot of organizations found out that they were lacking some things in their operating model.
Cool. Yeah. So it was also that was a positive impact on real estate and adapting new technology, going to do something with data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we are now live on LinkedIn.
Cool.
So for all people that watch on LinkedIn, please ask also your questions. So when you have a question to Jan Willem about the topic that we're going to talk about, well, shall we tell the topic? We're going to talk about today about the challenges management firms face without the right technology. Which change did the pandemic create for them? That's really my first question to you, Jan Willem. But also for the viewers, if you have any questions about what we are going to discuss about for the next 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, well, just type in your questions in the comments on LinkedIn, and we will give you the stage. So, really looking forward to it. I see already Eddie Holmes here. Your sound has got lots of interference, Wouter. Oh, we have some interference. Do you hear that? No? Well, maybe it is away, I hope. Yeah, I have my sound is off, but maybe I need to turn it completely off. I don't know. What do you hear there? Well, just give me a notification when maybe Lotte can also tune in and listen. Then we can see if we can fix that. But I think that it will be okay. So the first question is really, we're going to talk about the challenges investment management firms face without the right technology. Which change did the pandemic create?
I think first and foremost, loads of investment managers are they didn't really get scared, but I think they've been focusing on get a better understanding of their clients, their tenants, the business of their clients and their tenants, because obviously offices closed down, shopping centers closed down, retail shops closed down.
Yeah.
So I actually think that a lot of people are being busy with getting a better understanding of their clients. But it is also so that they can look at a better they can mitigate risk better and look at the exposure they have to their clients, to their tenants, to get a better understanding of where they are with their portfolio, to make sure that they can still attract the right mix of tenants to maybe diversify the tenant portfolio and the mix of it, just to make sure that you have the right tenants in your property, and you also have you can still meet your future revenue, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have loads of retailers that are falling down, then where are you going? Because if you have the vacancy over there and there's nobody in there, what does that do to your shopping center, for instance, right?
Yeah, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And how is technology then gonna help? Because they had probably a lack of insights.
Yeah, I think so, because if you have a better understanding of your customer and of their needs, that also, this level of transparency also fuels something else on the other side, right? Because your investors are also curious to find out where are we going with these guys? I mean, we've invested in this real estate portfolio, but where does the return come from? And do we still get the returns that was promised to us? So this more transparency, when you have more insight in your portfolio, also creates growing demands from your investors, but also your internal stakeholders, right? You still need to make sure that you have this detailed information at your fingertips at all time.
Yeah. So the term single source of truth is becoming more important for investment managers. How can you collaborate? How can they better collaboration and scalable data strategies help? How can that help?
Well, if you look at larger investment firms, I would say that they work a lot with external partners, right? With fund administrators, with property managers, maybe external asset managers as well.
Yeah.
And all of these investment firms, they rely on the data that they get from these partners of them. And what we see in a lot of operating models is that all of these external partners have their own systems, their own data strategies.
So their own single source of truth?
Their single source of truth, but that doesn't reflect the same single source of truth as there is for the investment firm.
Yeah.
So what we see is that single source of truth is kind of hard. If you get from these different partners all kinds of reports in different formats, how do you consolidate these reports into good information which is reliable, auditable as well for external stakeholders? And how can you make the best informed decisions if you do not have one single source of truth? Because maybe this report from this one property manager in Germany is different than that report or the way they calculate it in France. And if you can compare the two, how reliable is the data and how reliable is the decisions that you're making based upon that data?
Yeah, so there are actually 4 needs that investment managers firms need to consider. The first one is about data ownership, of course. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, if you don't have the ownership of the data, if the data is owned by one of your external partners,
those partners, yeah,
then how sure are you that that data is reliable? So maybe you want to make sure that you are the owner of all of that data. If it's your data, then you are sure that everything that is going on is what you know and what you were thinking of.
And is that possible?
Well, I work for Yardi, so I would say yes.
Yeah, I understand. But is that also possible for those investment firms? Because they, like you said, they work together with a lot of companies. But are they also for whose data is owned by who? That's actually
exactly. So if you have an external property manager doing your property, the property manager on your properties on your behalf, and they have their own system, that means it's their data.
Yeah.
And it's not the investment. It's not the owner's data. So you could do a change in operating model, and that means that real estate investment firms could choose to be the owner of their own data, right? Their own technology, and have their partners work on their platform.
On their platform, yeah.
And that's basically what we do at Yardi. We have a platform where you can work with either your internal teams or your external partners on that same platform, which means that the owner is the owner of the data as well.
Yeah, and then you get a single source of truth.
Exactly. Yeah, because everybody in the organization or also outside of the organization is looking at that same source of data and the same truth.
Yeah, and do you see it also the other way around? Because I can imagine that you have if an investment firm you work with Yardi, that the data is coming towards you. That it doesn't really matter what kind of solution the asset manager or portfolio manager is working with, but they just give the data via an API or something else to the system. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's possible. That works as well.
Yeah.
But having said that, we do believe in that one single source of truth, and we have a single connected platform, as we call that, to bring actually all of these components together on that one single platform.
Yeah, so you want to have them use only that platform and no other platforms?
Well, we believe at Yardi that will be the most beneficial for all stakeholders if you do it like that. Having said that, if one of our clients says, well, we really like this solution, obviously we can build an interface to get that data into the platform as well.
Yeah.
but 9 out of 10 times we would ask this investment firm, well, have you seen the solution we already have and which benefit this integrated platform has for you, before we really go into talking about that interface, for instance. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, number two, the second one is about better data. How can you create a better data set? Because, well, that's always also very important for that single source of truth. Create a reliable data set.
Well, obviously garbage in is garbage out. So creating a better data set would be how do you do that? Well, that's a good question. So I understand that it's challenging because you don't just flip the switch and you have a different operating model and external partners working exactly the way you would like. It simply doesn't work that way. So what do you do to get that better data set to enhance your operational performance, meet your ESG targets, etc.? You just make sure that you have the right technology in place, and you make everything consistent, right, across your portfolio. Make sure that your teams in country XYZ work the same as in ABC, right? And you expect the same things and same services from your external partners. You should build definitely a better data set and better data strategy, I believe.
But how do you? But if you have like a global or a European investment manager, how did they get their people on the same track? Because I think that's very difficult.
It is very difficult.
People real estate people in the Netherlands work different than real estate people in Germany and in France. And well, so what do you need to get those people on the same track?
A lot of discussions. A lot of internal discussions, the right technology, obviously, but probably vision, leadership, appetite for change, be brave, I would say. Yeah. And what we see with a lot of our clients and prospective clients, it takes a while to get there. A lot of these
so
sales
don't
cycles,
expect it when you start with it in a month's time you have it fixed.
Nice example. A couple of years ago I was talking to a prospect and a couple of conversations in they were asking me, so if we get Yardi all of this will go away? And then I told them, well actually no, it's just a means to an end. But don't expect when you buy Yardi that everything is going to resolve in a second. You need more than just that. Can
I say it's a tool and you need to make use of the tool, you need to feel the tool?
And actually I told this firm, I don't see this going the right way, I don't see this becoming successful, and I actually told them no. They were really scared, amazed by that. How does a salesperson ever say no because you are able to sell us your platform? And I said, well, I actually only want to engage if we are on the same track and you have a right project team in place and the entire organization is ready to make this change.
Otherwise it's not going to work.
Otherwise it's not going to work. A funny thing with these guys is they came back with us at the end of last year. The organization had grown. They brought in a different project team. They had a bigger sponsor from top down. And actually they signed a contract with us a couple of weeks ago and they're starting the implementation in a couple of months now. A couple of weeks actually.
Cool. So you need to have...
And the funny thing is that they finally understood why I said no back then and what has changed now, because that was my first question, obviously, when they reached out again. So what has changed?
And what was the biggest change?
The biggest change for them was a different organization and a different mindset and understanding how this different business model would benefit them.
So that is the biggest mind shift that you need to make.
I think the people factor is the biggest one to change.
Because you can say, well, we're going to talk about better data, but better data is not just by one click and you have better data. It's hard work.
A lot more. Data strategy takes a lot more than that.
Well, then we're going to talk about the third one, and that's this is all about the push to online and the need for a flexible environment that is easily scalable. What does this require from investment managers?
I would say that's basically the same kind of thing. It's still the leadership. You need to make sure the vision and the leadership, you need to make sure that everybody is on board with this. All of the teams, all of the stakeholders are on board with all of this. When you need to learn how to walk first before you can run, right? So you should start with the basics. If you start with the basics, get your property management data in, your leases in, your property all in the same way to make that comparable, etc. And then you can take next steps for other processes. You got to make sure that you have your primary process in place first.
And do you see real estate doing that right now and understanding that they need to do this? Because
slowly, more and more.
Yeah.
In my former job, I used to work in the accountancy. In accountancy, I sold ERP platforms to local accountancy firms in the Netherlands. And when I joined Yardi a little under 5 years ago, I really fell off my chair, and I was thinking, how on earth is it possible that organizations with portfolios of millions and billions are working on Excel?
Yeah.
And a generic financial application, and that's basically it. And there's Excels flying all over the place. And I just didn't understand why that was. Was that because the solutions weren't there, or there was no necessity for it, or is it a mix of the two? I'm still not sure. I think it's a mix of the two. But over the last 5 years, I do see some change, and it's always nice to get in touch with people. I mean, you see a lot of organizations now appointing data analysts, business analysts, change managers, chief digitalization officers, etc.
Yeah.
And I see these people becoming more and more important. So I do see a change whenever I go to an event, or used to go to an event. There was all kinds of panel discussions, and everybody said, yeah, data is important. Data is the new crude oil. And I've been saying that too. I mean, it's true.
Yeah, but then you need to do something.
If you don't do anything with it, and we can all agree that data is important, but sure, what are you going to do with it now then?
Yeah.
What is your data strategy going to be?
Yeah.
And that's something that I see more and more on the tables at C-level, talking about this and adopting strategies at the moment.
Are we there yet, or what do you think is still missing in the real estate industry? Are we taking steps? Do we need to tell the story more often? What do you think is needed for it to be more implemented?
I think we need to keep on preaching.
Yeah.
I think we do need to keep on preaching, but it's getting more and more generic to a lot of people that data is important. And you see a lot of organizations hiring people for these roles that are coming outside of real estate. And I do think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because they have a different perspective on how to deal with data. I mean, real estate has always been about data. I mean, people are acting like that's something new, but it's always been about data.
Yeah, always about numbers.
Yeah, always about the numbers.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. But it still is about numbers. But if you have a lot of numbers, and there's obviously a lot more numbers available right now if you have the right technology, you can do a lot more with that as well, just for your day-to-day operations, but also to gain more investor confidence or transparency towards your investors. I mean, you can open up a portal for your investors and give them real-time insight in how their portfolio, how their invested money is doing, for instance.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's cool. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
yeah, that gives a lot of trust, transparency, and that helps you for new investments as well.
I think so too. I mean, I've been looking at the latest INREF report, and it says that over the next coming 2 years, investors are probably going to invest 46% more in real estate, even though we have a corona pandemic, and we have to still see what work from home is going to do with the future of offices, of shopping as well. But 46 increase in allocation of investments in real estate, that's still a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a lot to do.
Still a lot to do. Well, we're gonna go to number 4, I guess, the last one, and that's about growth and communication between asset owner and investor. What do you think of this? We talked already a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think I alluded a little bit to it in the previous question, because investors need more confidence. They want to invest more, but they need the confidence that the operator is doing
the right job.
The right job for them, and still meeting the right returns for them. So I think more transparency on that end is going to be very important for the investors.
Yeah, cool. And then, can you give an example of a company that is working with these needs, with these 4 needs, and which results do they get by that?
Yeah, sure. I think I have a couple of examples. Maybe a quick example is a client of ours in the Netherlands, is a investment firm that is mostly invested in retail properties across Europe. And when the pandemic hit, after a month or 2, I gave the CFO a call and I asked him, so tell me, how are you doing? You must take a big hit, right? So how is this going? He said, well, actually, we're doing quite well. And to be honest, he said he was quite happy that he did an implementation with Yardi over 2 years ago, because he wanted to know what his exposure was to a couple of his tenants. He said, in the past I had to go to 5 different countries and I have to ask all of these people, please tell me what the exposure is to tenant XYZ. And it took him a week and a half to get all this information at his desk in Amsterdam. And now he just gave a call to his business analyst. He ran a report in the system and he said, well, I had it in like an hour and a half, instead of a week and a half. So better timely information helps you be more agile in your decision making, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just a simple example. Another one would be if you have a better data strategy and you do everything in that single connected platform and all of your people are working on that same platform, you can leverage off that. Another example of ours is a big global client of ours that has over 8,000 properties across the globe. They used to have a very timely, time-consuming annual reporting cycle or forecasting cycle, which was based on all kinds of systems being brought together, all the data being brought together in Excel, huge Excels. If you try to open it, you'd be like 30 minutes in, then the Excel is finally open.
Wow.
So what they did is they used a tool of ours called Forecasting Manager, and all of the asset managers now work on this Forecasting Manager tool, and all they do is they log into that platform, have their own dashboard, and they see which properties do I have to look at for this forecasting period. And you only need to look at the black swans, not at the white swans. So you can do your work a lot quicker, and it's still going right back to that single source. So if asset management only does the revenue side and accounting or controlling does the expenditure side, or wherever that is, it's all in that one single source again. And what they gained was, for instance, going back from that annual forecasting cycle to a quarterly forecasting cycle. And they're now actually thinking of going to a monthly rolling budget, actually.
Because it's that easy to see what is changing within the portfolio.
Exactly. So they saved a lot of time with that. They saved a lot of money with that as well. And obviously they have better insight on their portfolio because they are so, how do you say it in English?
Well, they can make faster decisions and handle faster.
Exactly, but they can also report better numbers to all of their investors because it's real time. Yeah. It's near real time for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Other great insights that you can share with us from clients that you work with. Where you think, well, this is really amazing, and not only about the data, but also like the mindset change that you've seen, or other stuff that the companies are really taking action on right now.
So what we see is, from the past, a lot of people knew Yardi as a financial system and a property management system, and that was basically it, right? That's who we've always been, and what we will remain to be. But I think 3 years ago we launched our so-called Elevate suite, which is totally designed for asset management. And the cool thing is that, asset managers don't like working in ERP systems. They like graphical data, nice things, etc. to work on. And I think that's what we did with the Elevate suite of products. So an asset manager logs onto that platform, has their own dashboard with new technology, which makes it nice to work on instead of, it's a hassle, I still have to do all of this.
Yeah.
So with a couple of clients where we rolled out these applications and these tools, people actually like working on this. So my job has changed, where I was always talking to maybe a CFO or the accountants and those people. I now talk to a lot more investment or asset managers. And whereas they always said, well, technology, that's not for me, you should talk to my finance department, that has changed. And we see a lot of drive coming now from asset managers approaching us and say, well, hey, Jan Willem, can you please tell me a little bit more on how this works? And that's now my first point of conversation instead of the finance team.
Yeah.
Which is fun because it changes my my conversations into better, different, more business-oriented conversations, which I like a lot better.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Jan Willem. I hope people on LinkedIn liked it as well. We're going to put this video also on our YouTube channel and everything. Cool. So it was great to have you with us. well, I hope we both can travel a lot from this summer. I hope everything will open up a little bit more.
I can't wait to take you with us in the cab back to Nice Airport from MIPIM again, Wouter.
That was amazing. On the last day of MIPIM at Friday afternoon, well, you're completely broke and completely done with it, but that was a great car to back to the airport, so thank you for that. And well, hope to see you soon.
You too, Wouter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.